Hi everybody, good Thursday night. Thursday night is Leil Shishi in Jerusalem, and was I on mute? I was on mute this whole time. I was on mute. Alright, I was on mute. What I'm trying to say is, thank you Hashem, and let's make l'chaim. Let's make l'chaim. I've got 6 beers I'd like to finish in one sitting. And I'd like for you, whoever's out there, to come and join me on the camera, and let's talk about literally anything, doesn't matter, but the point is dialogue and conversation. That's what I'm trying to do. So here's l'chaim. It's actually my first alcoholic beverage, my first drink of the day. And as you can see, the sun already set here, so it's 7 p.m., 7:06 p.m. right now in Israel. I'm having my first alcoholic beverage of the day. I think that's pretty good because I'm saying I do drink every day. I do. I don't think that's problematic. You know, a lot of people drink every day and their family has issue with it, or they have issue with it. I have no issue with my drinking. My family has no issue with my drinking. I don't cause problems. Although Shabbos that passed, you know, I did get bruised all over because some people, I don't know, apparently I caused a brawl. My friend Moish that I was with, he didn't tell me the whole story, I don't know, but he said like people weren't being nice to me and it caused a whole fight. He said there was a brawl in the street. Half the people are on my side, half the people on the other side. And at the end, an ambulance was there, cops were there. He took me away when the cops were coming, you know. But I don't remember this. I just woke up all bruised, you know. I still have parts in my body that are bruised. It's almost a full week later, you know. I don't usually black out. I don't usually drink till getting blacked out. Although I would say like maybe once a week on Shabbos that would happen and that's normal, but it depends on the week. Or Even if I get blackout drunk, I don't usually do stupid shit. Although, I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, drinking I don't think's a problem for me right now, you know? Speaking of drinking, my beer is empty, so let's open up beer number 2. I hope you can hear me. I was on mute before. Or I wasn't on mute before and I put myself on mute now by mistake. I don't know. One down, 5 to go. Making l'chaim in honor of all the Yidden. You know how many Yidden are struggling right now? They think they're bad Jews. They think, I don't know what. And you know how many people suffered in the past? For all the Yidden that are suffering, that have suffered, let's make l'chaim. I don't really know why we say l'chaim, but by Jews it's a very big thing. When you drink, you say to life in Hebrew, l'chaim. And the rabbis, like the Rebbes, the Hasidic Rebbes, were very, very into it. One of them in particular, I don't remember which, he would say like, I don't even remember what he said. I just know saying l'chaim is like the best, biggest thing, almost, probably. Maybe not even almost. But yeah. Pour out a drop for the Sitra Achra, the other side, they can get their feed. Already made a blessing in the first beer. You should have a button in front of you to request to join on the video, and that would actually make me really happy if someone would come onto the video and, chit chat. But it's fine if not, I can monologue. I don't really have much to say or talk about, I think if I go to a mikvah, I'll come out with insight, but I'll probably go to mikvah Erev Shabbos tomorrow after midday, Chatzos Hayom, L'Kavod Shabbos Kodesh. We can make l'chaim to L'Kavod Shabbos Kodesh. L'chaim to all the Yidden, want to elevate all the Yidden. L'Iloi Nishmas, to elevate the souls of all the Yidden. And L'Kavod Shabbos Kodesh. I don't know what's going on in your lives. Can I add you to my video, please? Can you join? No? I don't know. I don't know what's going on in everyone's minds. I mean, probably elections, right? In the US. It's on my mind. It's on my Twitter feed. X. Elon Musk. Joe Rogan. Kamala Harris. Donald Trump. I've seen people compare it to the Purim story. I saw that on my WhatsApp. On WhatsApp, someone put it on the status. A picture of, Haman, the bad guy, leading Mordechai, the good guy, on a horse. Because in the Purim story, Haman had this big plot to kill all the Jews, right? In the middle of all this is going down, the king at the time, who ruled over the whole known world apparently, from Hodu till Kush, from the river to the sea, right? From Hodu till Kush, India to Ethiopia, or I don't know where. But he had a big empire. And, he had killed his wife because she refused to come naked to his big feast in front of the entire country. It was invited. She refused. Apparently she grew a tail. She would have come down. She was she wasn't that modest. But she grew a tail, apparently, or something. I don't know what that means, if it's allegorical, literal. But she grew a tail, whatever that means. So she didn't want to come down. She was really a wicked queen. She would, she'd torture her Jewish maidens. She had Jewish maidens that she purposely torture on Shabbat or something, make them work. I don't know what she did. Made them work on Shabbat. And other torture. I don't know what she did to them. But she was a wicked queen. Her father was the king of Persia, and then her husband, had a coup against the kingdom, and he became king. His name was Achashverosh. Haman, the bad guy, goes to Achashverosh to kill all the Jews. He pays him 10,000 gold dinar or something. He says, we're going to kill all the Jews. So, thing is, one night Achashverosh can't sleep, right? And what does he do? He brings in the record keeper and he says, read me the records. And the guy opens the book. He doesn't want to read that page, so he starts like skipping pages to go to a different page. And the book keeps turning back to the same page. So Achashverosh, the king, makes him read, the record keeper guy, read that page. Okay, read me that page. Stop playing games. Read me what it says there. It says, Mordechai the Jew, who's in the court of the king. He was a very wise man. I think he was the leader of the Jewish court. He spoke 70 languages. He was definitely I think he was on the Jewish court. Might have been the leader of the Jewish court. The Sanhedrin, if it had still existed, or before the exile, while it existed, at some point, I think he was part of the Jewish court. He spoke 70 languages, which was a prerequisite to be on the court. Anyways, it says in the record book that he once saved the king's life. How? Because Bigsan and Seresh, two of the king's people in the palace, they had this plot that they were going to kill Achashverosh with poison. Mordechai overheard. They didn't think anyone understood their language because they were foreigners speaking a foreign language. Mordechai spoke all 70 languages, so he knew exactly what they were talking about. He told his niece, Esther, the Jewish girl who made it into the palace. Achashverosh forced her. He married her because he needed a wife. His wife, the queen, the daughter of the original king that he made a coup against, or whatever. He killed her because she didn't listen to him and come naked, right? Because she grew a tail, right, in front of the whole party. So Esther gets into the palace. She's the queen. Mordechai, her uncle, who raised her because she was an orphan. Mordechai tells Esther, his niece, listen, they're going to kill the king. Go tell the king. So she told the king. They figured out the plot was real. They foiled the plot. They killed Bigsan and Seresh. And now it's in the record book that the king was saved. And so the king Achashverosh asked the record keeper, okay, how did we reward him? Oh, we never rewarded him. He never received a reward. Okay, so we still owe him. So the king thinks, I can't sleep. Maybe this is why I can't sleep, because I never paid back this Jew. We're supposed to kill all these Jews. I never paid back this one Jew. I never paid him back. He saved my life. Okay, fine. Then they hear shaking in the outside. They hear shaking. So he tells the guy, go outside, see who's there. Who's there? It's Haman, the bad guy in the story. They bring in Haman, and the king asks Haman, what should be done to the person that the king wishes to honor? Haman thinks, obviously, the king wants to honor me. At this point, Haman was the second in command. He thought, obviously, the king wants to honor me, right? So Haman, in his big, giant ego, he tells the king, you know what? Someone who the king wishes to honor, he should be dressed in the king's clothing, which is such a chutzpah. No one says it to the king. You don't say that to a king, that you should dress someone up in your clothing. No one says that, but he says you should dress the person up in the king's clothing. Not only that, you should have him ridden. He should ride on the king's private horse, the king's fancy private horse. He should ride on the king's fancy horse in the king's fancy clothing and be paraded around the city, led by an honorary dignitary official who proclaims, this is what shall be done to the one who the king wishes to honor. This is what shall be done to the one who the king wishes to honor. Yeah? And the king Achashverosh says to Haman, great, go do what you just said. Go do that to Mordechai the Jew. Put on my clothing on him, put him on my horse, and you yourself lead him around town, around the capital city, Shushan Abir, the capital city. Lead him around Shushan and proclaim, this is what shall be done to the one who the king wishes to honor. This is what shall be done to the one who the king wishes to honor. And Haman is forced to listen to the king. He does this. While he's doing this, he passes by his own house. His daughter sees from the roof. She doesn't understand what's going on. She thinks that her father is the one on the horse. She's like her father. She thinks the same way. Obviously, if there's such honor being bestowed to someone, it's to my father, the second in command, the second, right? So she thinks it's her father on the horse. And I don't know why she assumed, but she assumed the guy leading her father must have been Mordechai. I guess they were adversaries. They had history. They go back. They went. By the way, before the Purim story, Mordechai and Haman, these two, the good guy and the bad guy, they already knew each other. They were both generals of armies in the same army, but they were both generals and they both had their own units. And during one of their big wars or battles, Haman, the bad guy, ran out of food. He didn't know how to preserve food for his unit. They ran out of food. Every night they had big feasts. They ran out of food real quick. Mordechai was a Jew. He knew how to, handle money. He didn't waste everything. They still had plenty of food. So Haman came to Mordechai. They were both generals. He said, "Give me money for give me food for my platoon. We're starving, right?" Mordechai said, "No problem. I'll give you food. Sell yourself as a slave to me." Okay? So Haman sold himself as a slave to Mordechai, and where did they write the contract? I believe they even wrote it on his shoe. They wrote it on his shoe. At the time, I don't know. That's what they had. They wrote it on his shoe. I think that's what I remember. Anyways, that's years earlier. So now we go back. The daughter of Haman sees the procession coming down. This is what shall be done to the one of the king wishes to honor. She assumes her father's on the horse, being led by his adversary Mordechai. So she dumps a big bucket of poop. Yeah, she takes from the toilet a big bucket of poop, and she drops it on the guy leading the horse. She thinks Mordechai's leading the horse, so she drops it on who she thinks is Mordechai. Turns out it's actually Haman, and Mordechai's the one on the horse. Her father Haman looks up, sees her. They make eye contact. She freaks out. She doesn't know what to do. She jumps off and she kills herself. She jumps off the roof, suicide. She kills herself. Anyways, why am I telling you all this? Because I saw someone put on WhatsApp. They put it as their status. One of my friends, a picture of this scene. You see the Jew being led in the king's clothes on the king's horse by the wicked Haman. Yeah, and what's the irony? The irony is that the wicked guy, he has to proclaim that this is what shall be done to the one who the king wishes to honor, right? How is that connected to the current events? So the guy wanted to say, like, look, Kamala Harris, come January 6th, she has to certify the election and and proclaim Donald Trump as the president. It's funny because she's the vice president, but she's running against him. Calling him Hitler and, garbage, and supporters are garbage, whatever. So in a way, maybe you could say it's connected. I'm not saying this. I'm telling you what I saw on my WhatsApp status. The connection of Haman, the bad guy, leading Mordechai on the king's horse, in the king's clothing, proclaiming to the whole city, in the capital city of Shushan, this is in Persia, the capital city, this is what shall be done to the one who the king wishes to honor. That's kind of like Kamala Harris certifying that Donald Trump is the president. It's kind of, okay, that's one connection. Another connection I saw on Facebook, someone posted how they wanted to compare Donald Trump to King Ahasuerus. They were trying to do this in a very evil, wicked way, claiming that, I don't know, in the comment section, they put a post to like Forbes magazine, some really liberal guy comparing Trump. The title of the thing was, Trump is not Hitler, but rather he's Ahasuerus. Like, what the fuck? He's not Hitler, but he's Ahasuerus. Okay, so I read it. But in the article, it's like, oh, he's not Hitler because he's not exterminating people directly, but he's like Ahasuerus because he's a violent, wicked, whatever. I don't know. I mean, I don't see Donald Trump as a violent guy. I'm not saying he's a great guy. I'm not saying anything about him. Listen, he might be part of whatever the one world Illuminati. He might be reptilian. I have no idea. But they were trying to claim that he's this violent, criminal type of character, like I don't know what. I don't see Donald Trump as a violent guy. I mean, I haven't seen anyone come up and say Donald Trump beat me up. He doesn't seem particularly violent to me. I put this article through ChatGPT and I asked it to explain to me what's the violence. The only thing it came up with was that he incited violence on January 6th, which in my opinion is bullshit. I mean, I don't think Donald Trump incited violence on January 6th. From what I understand him, from what I remember him, from what I see now, I mean, all the tweets are available, even things that were deleted, people screenshotted, everything's pretty much available. Donald Trump was telling people stay peaceful. So they want to say, oh, he said stay peaceful, but he really meant to tell his people don't stay peaceful. Like they're I don't know, they're gaslighting him, or I don't know what the word is. They're like, mom is retarded. So, but anyways, that was another connection that I saw to the Purim story. People trying to say that Ahasuerus is Trump, and they're both this like, they're not Haman Hitler. Haman Hitler are the same type of character. They want to just kill all the Jews. Achashverosh Trump is like a different type of character. He's just a politician who doesn't really know anything, because Achashverosh, according to there's actually an argument in the Talmud. By the way, there's many tractates in the Talmud. I don't remember how many. I want to say like 70, but I don't remember how many. Uh, Liora, I don't know. Maybe you can Google it and tell me. I don't know, and comment maybe how many tractates or Masechtot are in the Gemara. I don't know. It might differ in Mishnayos versus the Talmud, and then I don't know, but I know there's 6 orders of Mishnah, but in each order there's many tractates. Anyways, the only one that I ever finished from start to end is Tractate Megillah, the story of Purim, and I'm pretty sure it's in there. There's an argument: was King Achashverosh, was he a very, very smart king, or was he a very, very dumb king? There's actually 2 opinions, directly contradictory. But there's an opinion that he was a very, very smart king. There's also an opinion that he was a very, very dumb king who had no idea what he was doing, and he just listened to his advisors. Which you can say so, because why? Because his queen didn't want to come down naked to her party. Maybe because she grew the tail, but whatever. But what did he do? He listened to one of his advisors who said, so kill her. Memuchan said kill her. So he did. And by the way, I think when we say Memuchan is Haman, it's the same person. It's Haman. And not only that, after that, Haman comes and tells the king. First, he told him kill her. Which, why would you kill your own wife because your advisor says so? That means you don't really know anything. You just listen to the people around you. Which this article is claiming that's Trump. He's a weak person who just listens to people around him. Which I don't know if I agree with. I don't see Trump as a weak guy who just listens to people around him. I always thought he's a strong, tough character who does whatever the fuck he wants. Which is why people like him and vote for him, right? But maybe we're all wrong. Maybe he's really just listening to the military-industrial complex or the people around him. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe that's why I did Operation Warp Speed, because the people around him told him and forced him. Maybe he's really a weak personality. But if that's true, how did he become a billionaire in real estate? So that's why I'm not really sure. But let's get back to where we're holding. I don't remember. Let's make Chaim to all the Yidden, to elevate all the souls of all the Yidden. Not only did he kill his own wife because his advisors told him to, or Haman, his advisor, told him to, not only that, he decreed a national decree to his entire kingdom, that what? That all the men are going to be the rulers of the house, and the women must listen to their husbands. And it was a very funny decree, because even today, but back then for sure, we're talking about 2,000 years ago. I don't know exactly the date it occurred, but listen, Jesus died, I think, after the second temple was destroyed, about 2025 years ago, 2024, 25 years ago. A little bit before that, in between the second and the first temple, that's when the Purim story happened. So a little bit more than 2,000 years ago, like 2,200 years ago, 2,400 years ago, 2,600 years ago. I don't know how many years ago. Probably around 2,200 years ago, probably, was the Purim story. So even today, it's silly. You don't need to make a national decree that the man is the leader of the house and the woman should listen to the man. I mean, maybe some liberal women, some liberal men maybe need to hear that. But most people, conservatives, don't really need to hear that. Most conservative men and women, that's how it is in their homes, and that's how they want it. The woman wants to be led, the man wants to lead, and that's how it is. But for sure, 200 years ago, the king made a fool out of himself by listening to his advisors and declaring that all the women must be subservient to their husbands and that the man must rule the house. And why did Haman tell the king to do this? He told the king, look, she didn't listen to you, your wife, so now no one's going to listen to their husbands, which is not true. It's not true. They would have listened to their husbands, especially after he killed her. What do you mean? But he had a personal agenda because his wife didn't listen to him. Okay, this is we know from the Talmud, Midrash. I don't know where we know it from, but this is what I remember. Haman had a personal agenda here. His wife at home didn't listen to him, and she was always making fun of him, always doubting him. So he had a personal agenda here. So this wicked Haman makes the king declare an edict across his entire kingdom, which spread from the entire known world, that the woman must listen to their husband, just so that in his house he can tell his wife, see, the king said so. But anyways, you see that Achashverosh, again, I told you there's 2 opinions. Was he really smart or really dumb? But according to this opinion, you can see he was a really dumb guy, really weak guy who just listened to his advisors. So this article was trying to say that this is Trump. He's just this, he's like Achashverosh, a violent guy with wicked tendencies, but he's not like Haman Hitler. He's not that wicked trying to kill everyone. He's the weak guy who does what people tell him to do. Like, I get the comparison and I like the comparison. I just don't agree that that's Trump. I don't know. Is that really Trump? You guys see Trump as a weak guy who just does what people tell him to do? I mean, who's that strong that has power more than Trump? Like, I see Trump as a really tough guy. Like, I mean, I don't know. I've seen on, I think it was the Joe Rogan. I don't know. Maybe not Joe Rogan. I don't know. I've seen it twice. So maybe once was Joe Rogan, once somewhere else. Maybe it wasn't Joe Rogan once even. But I've seen them say the story like this. Trump went to meet the leaders in Afghanistan that were fighting. I don't know. I guess the Taliban. Yeah. He went to meet them in person. In person. And he told them, listen, I'm going to withdraw from Afghanistan. We're going to withdraw all the American forces. It's going to take some time. And you guys are not going to harm, you're not going to harm one American soldier. And then he took out pictures of their houses, I guess because there was leaders there of the Taliban, or one leader or a bunch of leaders. But he took out pictures of this guy's house. He showed him a house. He showed him his house. He showed him a picture of his house. And he told him, I'm going to kill you. Or he didn't say that, it was just implied because he showed him the pictures. I don't remember if he said it, but he showed the guy a picture of his own house. Meaning and he told him, you're not going to harm any American soldiers. We're going to leave Afghanistan. It's going to take us this time, but you're not going to harm any American soldiers. And the message was understood because they didn't harm any American soldiers the entire time Trump was in office. But that's a story that to me shows strength. That's not a weak guy that just does what people around him tell him. That's a strong guy. It's a strong guy. Now you could say no. You could say no. Some generals told them the plan. You're going to talk to these guys. You're going to show them these pictures. You're going to pretend to be tough. Maybe. But I don't see that happen. I don't see that that's not the image I see of Trump. But listen, let's just say there's got to be two views, because if we're comparing it to the Purim story, in the Purim story itself with King Achashverosh himself, we have two conflicting views in the Talmud. Was he a strong king and very smart, or was he a weak king and kind of dumb? So it makes sense that I can see it one way and my friend on Facebook can see it another way, because in the Talmud itself, we have two different views on how to see Achashverosh. So it makes sense we would have two different views on how to see Trump. And what do we say in these type of scenarios? Elu ve'elu divrei Elohim chayim. This and this, or these and these, are the words of the living God. They're both valid opinions and they're both true. How can that be? I don't know. I'm not a scientist. Chaim. Okay. We're 2 down, 4 to go. Let's open up number 3. All right, this one goes out. This one goes out to Shlomo Ben Liora, okay? And Batsheva Bas. I don't remember. You can tell me in the comments. I don't remember. But that's for you. Shlomo, I wear his clothing. I wear Shlomo's clothing. Or a lot of clothing, but most of my clothing comes from Shlomo, that's for sure. He actually studied in Sfas in YTD. A lot of people that I know in Sfas actually were friends of Shlomo. You know, Batsheva Baskito, thank you. Batsheva Baskito, thank you. That's his grandma. Anyways, Chaim, Shlomo, Chaim, Batsheva, Neshama should be elevated. Where are we holding? We're holding with Purim. I do like this idea of applying the Purim narrative to our current events and the landscape that we see. I don't think it's exclusive to Purim. I think we do the same thing with Hanukkah. I think you could do the same thing with Passover. I think you could do the same thing with Lech Lecha Me'artzecha, this week's Torah portion. Every week, every Shabbat, we have a Torah portion that we read. It's not just on Shabbat, by the way. Also on Monday and Thursday, also we read from the Torah. What am I talking about? The entire 5 books of Moses is split into sections, where every week you have one section. Okay? Every week you have a section that you read. So on Saturday, on Sabbath, on Shabbos, you read the entire section. Before Shabbos, on Monday and the Thursday before Shabbos, you read just the first part. That first part, because on Shabbos, when you read it, it's divided into 7 parts. 1 part for each day, right? And during the week, usually most Jewish men read that day's portion, meaning this week's portion is Lech Lecha, the 3rd portion of the Torah. We have first Bereshis, Genesis. Then you have Noah, right? Then you have Lech Lecha. Bereshis is the creation narrative, the story of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and the tree of life, right? Noah is the story of the flood, right? Noah, right? 120 years to build a flood, I think. How many years to build a teva? Was it 120 years? I think so. The life of Moses, I think so. Also, teva is a word in Hebrew. Teva means a word. He built a boat, but it means a word. And I'm just saying, everything is connected. Anyways, yeah, the next portion is Lech Lecha. God says to Abraham, I don't know how we got to Abraham, the 3 portions. That sounds pretty quick. But Abraham, God says to him, Lech Lecha, go to yourself. Go for yourself. Go to yourself. Find yourself, your soul, right? Anyways, Me'artzecha, from your land, from the land that you grew up in, from your father's land, leave, go. So that's this week's portion. So on Monday and on Thursday, they read the same piece, just the first days. But on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, each day, there's a section. And most Jewish men around the world, like that are religious, that they put on tefillin every day, they keep kosher, they keep the Shabbat. So most of them, they read on Sunday, they read Sunday's portion. Monday, they read Monday's portion. Tuesday's portion. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday's portion. Shabbat, they have that portion also. But besides that, reading Shabbat's portion by themselves, in the synagogue on Shabbat, they read the whole thing, the whole week's portion. But on Monday and Thursday, they read just Sunday's portion, just the beginning, just that first part. They read that on Monday and Thursday. They read that. So, where we're going with this? Where we're going with this? So yeah, I don't know. I was trying to say Lech Lecha, go for yourself to Abraham. That's this week's Torah portion. So yeah, you can also apply that narrative, the Lech Lecha narrative, where God says to Abraham, this entire story of God telling Abraham to leave his birthplace and to go. You can apply that to today's current events also. My uncle, my father's brother, his name is Yitzchak Fingerer. He has a program, a synagogue in New York that he runs called Brooklyn Jewish Experience with my other uncle, my father's other brother. I mean, there's a bunch of brothers, but one of the other ones, Moshe Fingerer. Together, they run this program, Brooklyn Jewish Experience. It's mostly Kiruv Rechaikim, which means like bringing back Jews that are not religious, bringing them back into the religious world, making them, giving them a taste of Shabbos, giving them a taste of Hashem, teaching them Torah, bringing them to Israel, all sorts of events, So anyways, I didn't post it to my Facebook or my WhatsApp or anything because I was like, listen, I don't know how I feel about the election. Maybe Trump's really the Illuminati. I don't know. But I posted it to my TikTok. Posted it where I'm more anonymous. On my TikTok, I'm like, no one really knows who I am, right? So I posted it to my TikTok, but he made a video where he shows how this Torah portion of Lech Lecha is actually very, very prophetic, and it's talking about the state of Israel. I don't remember all the points he laid out, but honestly, it was very, very good. It was like a very short video, like 4 minutes, but I'm just saying, it's not just the Purim narrative that you can relate to current events. He took this week's Torah portion of Lech Lecha and related it to the state of Israel. And he connected it so on point. He was really, really on point. He really was. So I'm saying it's not just the Purim story that you can take and relate to current events and say this character is so-and-so and that character is so-and-so. No. You can do that with every piece of the Torah. The whole Torah is one organism, and everything in the world you can connect to the Torah, and every piece of Torah you can connect to every piece of the world, and every piece of Torah you can connect to every other piece of Torah, and every other piece of the world you connect to every other piece of the world. It's all one. There's only one, Achdus. You know what we say every day when we wake up and when the sun sets and it's nighttime? Also, before we go to sleep, we say it again. So 3 times a day, what do we say? We say, El, Melech Ne'eman, God, King, faithful. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, hear Israel, Yahweh. And then tension on Yahweh, the Yod He Vav He, is what? It's that he was and he is and he always will be. And also when we pronounce it, we don't say Yahweh, we say Adonai, because you're not allowed to say Yahweh. So we say Adonai, our master. And the intention on that part is that he's the master of everything. Eloheinu, he's our God. That Yahweh, he's our God. Yahweh Echad, our master who is always was and always is and always will be. He is Echad. He is one in earth and in the seven heavens above and on the four directions around. He's one. Let me whisper. Blessed is the name of the honor of his kingdom forever and onwards. And then we say three portions from the Torah, three portions from the 5 books of Moses, three small portions. There's V'yahavta, and you shall love your God. There's V'hayim Shemaya, which is like reward and punishment mostly, but there's other stuff in there. There's a lot of stuff in there. And then there's Vayomer, which talks about the Exodus from Egypt, amongst other things, like tzitzis. There's a lot compacted into these three portions. But every day we say it. When we wake up, you're supposed to say it, like in the first 3 hours of the day from sunrise. Once the sun rises, you divide. Pretty much the day is divided into 24 parts. It's not 24 or 60 minutes because you have seasons, so days are shorter, days are longer. It's not always 60-minute hours. It's usually not 60-minute hours actually. But the day is divided into 24 parts. So those parts are called an hour, even though they're not 60-minute hours, but they're hours in halachic hours. So from when the sun comes up, you have 3 halachic hours. Within those first 3 halachic hours, you say the Shema. And then again, once the sun goes down, you say the Shema, and you have all night. You could say the Shema all night, at least till midnight, but really, really, really all night. We say just till midnight because we don't want you to miss you don't want it to come sunrise and you missed it. So we say do it by midnight, but really you have all night till the sun rises, you can say it. But besides that, we say the 3rd time when you go to sleep. So generally, it's not just twice a day, even though it's really twice a day, the commandment. Generally, we say it 3 times a day. I don't even know where I'm going with this. I'm losing it. I'm already almost halfway through the beer, not quite. I'm like, we drank, right? We drank 2 with 3 full ones, and this guy is like almost, he's not even half. Slacking, yo. Leora, can you come on and dialogue with me? Because I'm getting tired of the monologue, you know? You can give me Musser if you want. I don't care. All right. All right. Look at this ant. All right. I'll show you an ant. Look at hard at work. Hard at work. You know, I saw this prank someone pulled on the ant. I don't know if it's real. I don't know if he faked it, but I saw he took like a huge piece of bread, he put it down like here. You see an ant come up to it. He sees the big, huge piece of bread. He runs away. A minute later, like 1,000 ants come. But before they came, he took the big piece of bread away and he replaced it with a teeny crumb. So like all these 1,000 ants come marching and there's like a teeny crumb there. That's like a funny prank the guy pulled on the ant. Like, and the caption was like, they never trusted that ant again. You know, they never trusted him again. You know, because that's how ants work. They find food, they go communicate it to their like hive or whatever, and then they all come, you know? So this guy pranked the ants. He put a huge piece of food. The ant came, so I went to get all his friends. They came back. By the time he came back, he'd switch it to Teeny Crumb. I don't know, I just thought of it because I see the ads now, and yeah. Uh, Listen, I'll tell you this much. If you're tznius enough for the pool, meaning if you're not tznius, you can't go to the pool. How can you go outside? So if you're tznius enough to go outside and go to the pool, you're tznius enough to show up on my Facebook. That's my response. I don't know. You could put it on a robe. You could turn off your camera. By the way, there's a way to join without the camera. There is. It's hard to do. I've had issues in the past. Some of my viewers were able to do it. Some were not able to do it. It might have to do with what type of phone you have or which version of the app you have. I don't know. I've never been on another person's live. I don't think. So maybe I have. Maybe I haven't. I don't know. I don't know if I know. I don't know if I know how to do it. But I know that when you join the video, you should be able to join without video. You should be able to join audio only. Can we try that? Let's try that. Please do accept and just try to join with audio only if you want. And if it doesn't work, then just cover your camera. Go like this. Like cover it with your finger if you want. Or turn your camera around. Go like this. Look. Go like this. Just show the other camera and just show the other side. Show the pool. Anyways, this whole situation with politics, yeah. A lot of my friends who I think are pretty smart. I mean, they might be dumb. Maybe I'm dumb also. I don't know. But a lot of my friends that I think are like exceptional in their IQ and their analysis, their you know. I mean, I think the number one sign of intelligence is social awkwardness. I think people that are really intelligent are socially awkward. Like Einstein, they say he didn't brush his hair, or I don't know, maybe his teeth. I don't know, but he didn't like clean his room. People are like that. They're socially off. When you're that smart, you're not that relatable to the rest of the world because you live in a different world. You don't live in the same world. So the people that are in my circle that I know that are like that, a little bit socially off because they're like exceptionally intelligent and no one really understands them or gets them, like that. The people in my circle that are like that, they all think Trump's really wicked, like he's part of the Illuminati, New World Order, blah, 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 blah. And Kamala Harris, too. Not like Kamala Harris is so righteous. No, also, of course, it's all the same game, right? If you really believe this conspiracy, you believe that there's a conspiracy, that there's a New World Order, and there's global bankers that are controlling the whole world, and they're being controlled by like an elite group of like Satan worshipping fallen angels or whatever you think, reptilians, I don't know, alien, I don't know what you think, then there's no difference between Kamala and Trump. They both work for them, right? But anyways, a lot of my friends think that, and it's not just my friends on that I know in life. I see this also on X, formerly Twitter. I see it everywhere. Wherever I look, I see people that think that. People that think that like there's no point in voting. Even Michael Green. Michael Green posted on his Telegram, maybe on his Facebook. I didn't see it in any of his Facebook posts recently, but I saw on his Telegram channel. There's no point in voting. It's all a joke. It's all a game. It's all a hoax. No point in voting, which goes against all the other Orthodox leaders of the world, like fake rabbis. I don't like the title rabbi, even though it says on my Facebook rabbi. I purposely titled it in a way that it's a joke. No one thinks I'm a rabbi. I'm not a rabbi. I never got smicha, and there is no such thing as smicha. But even if there was, I didn't get it. But I'm obviously not a rabbi, right? But even Michael Green posted, there's no such thing. There's no point in voting. But I'm saying even if you want to say there's no point in voting because they're all the Illuminati, there's still a very good point that I think I'm taking from Mendel Kessin. Mendel Kessin, in his last talk on YouTube, I'm pretty sure that's where I got it from, he said this wild, amazing idea. He said, choice. It's all about free choice. God is presenting us with a free choice. And it kind of reminds me of COVID. During COVID, the majority, I think, at least that's what it appeared like. Maybe it wasn't the majority. Maybe the majority is silent and it was just a few people that were being very loud. Usually that's how it is. The bullies are loud and the majority are silent. Majority are sheep. I don't know what to say. I don't know. But anyways, where are we going with this? Michael Green said not to vote. It's no point. I know we're going with this. We have to finish the beer and the cigarette. And then we'll continue. Let's make a commercial break. We're halfway done. 3 down, 3 to go. So that's 1.5 liters. 1.5 liters to go. Thursday night, you have to party. I'm saying, even if you don't have post-trauma that you're hiding from with your alcoholism, you have to drink tonight. It's a mitzvah, almost. Here's what I wanted to say from Mendel Kessin. Mendel Kessin, yeah? Mendel Kessin said, I think Guzman Alcastro said it, it's a choice. It's a choice. The elections are a choice. And it's never been clearer in a political election in the United States of factions, good versus evil. That's what he says, okay? And it reminded me of the COVID situation where taking the vaccine or not taking the vaccine, that's a choice. Yelling at people to put on a mask versus not yelling at people to put on a mask. Wearing a mask versus not wearing a mask. These are all choices. And God, besides for everything else that's going on in the world, whether it's an Illuminati putting it on us, whether it just happenstance of people making mistakes, doesn't matter how you think it happened. The point is God runs the world. Hashem, Yahweh, Havaya runs the world. Hashem, to Yud Hey and Vav Hey, he runs the world. And he presented us all with a choice. What's the point of giving us a choice? Because we're in the last generation before the messianic redemption, when everything will be very clear and there's not going to be any more free choice. There's still going to be free choice in the messianic era, but it's going to be different. Right now, our free choice, again, from Mendel Kessin, I'm taking this from Mendel Kessin. Right now, our free choice is, are we going to do good or are we going to do wicked, evil? In the future, there's not going to be such a choice. The choice is going to be only to do good, but how quickly are you going to do good? How much are you going to expedite goodness? Your choice, you're still going to have free choice, but it's only going to be in the realm of goodness. Right now, we have a choice in the realm of good or wicked. In the future, we're going to have choice, but it's going to be choice only in how quickly are we going to expedite the goodness. Do you feel? Feel? Kim Merker, please, can you talk to me? I'm tired of the monologue. I want to do dialogue. Can you get you on? I've been rejected already twice. More, I don't know. More than twice, but only by 2 people. Can you join? Anyways, you hear the point? So what I'm trying to say with the elections is like this. I don't know if Trump is an Illuminati person. I don't know if there is an Illuminati. I don't know nothing. But I do know God, Hashem, controls the world. And he's presenting everyone with a choice. Are you going to vote or you're not going to vote? And if you're going to vote, who are you voting for? So Mendel Kessin put it like this. He said, if you're going to vote for Kamala, you're clearly choosing wicked. He didn't say you have to vote. He wasn't trying to say you have to vote. But he was trying to say you cannot vote for Kamala, because if you vote for Kamala, you're going to be responsible just as much as anyone who voted for Hitler. People voted for Hitler. And he was trying to say that everyone who voted for Hitler has responsibility for every bit of suffering. There was tremendous suffering. It wasn't just Jews, also gypsies, also all kinds of people. All kinds of people were murdered or they weren't murdered, but they suffered tremendously under Hitler. And anyone who voted for Hitler has responsibility for every bit of suffering, not on the level of Hitler, because he's the one who was causing it, but on some level, they do have responsibility, and they're going to suffer for the suffering that they caused. So that's a remarkable statement, but I think it's genius, and I think it's very relevant. Meaning that this election, I don't care if you believe in Illuminati or you don't believe in Illuminati. The point is, God presented every 350 million, however many millions of people there are in America, every one of them who can vote, who's above 18, whatever, and a citizen, they were all presented with a choice. And what's remarkable is, I think most of us made the right choice. I did not vote. I think that's also a right choice, not to vote and just to say, I'm not involved, it's also a right choice, I think. Depends on what you believe. Meaning, if you believe in that Donald Trump is a good guy and there's no such thing as Illuminati and you don't vote because you're like, I'm not political, you made the wrong choice. But if you're like on the fence like me, or you believe that it's an Illuminati and there's no point in voting like Michal Green, then not voting is the right choice. Depends what you believe, right? But the majority of America voted for the right side. That's a very good sign. That's a very good sign in America. Because if we voted in Kamala, that means that the majority of the people are voting for a wicked side. Kamala is literally representing evil. According to Mendel Kessin, there's never been such a clear-cut good versus evil election in the United States. And I agree with him. I agree with that statement. It's very, very clear-cut that Kamala hates God. I saw a video. I think even Trump retweeted this video on an X. I might be wrong. I think that's where I saw it. But Kamala, I saw a video. Someone in the crowd started yelling, Jesus is Lord, or Christ is Lord, or something. Christ is King, or something in the crowd. Which, by the way, I don't agree with that. I think Jesus is a fake Messiah. He had the potential of Messiah, but I don't think he was an actual Messiah. I think at the end he turned into a false Messiah. But anyways, someone yelled something about Jesus is King or Christ is King. And what did Kamala respond? You're in the wrong rally. So listen, she didn't say that because of the views that I have, that like Jesus was a Jew, but he was a corrupted Jew. No. If she was Jewish and she had Jewish values and she understood the fact that Jesus like corrupted the system and he went against the Jewish rabbis, fine, I would agree with her. But that's not her view. Her view is anti anyone who represents anything godly. And Christianity has a godly light. It does. It's further away from paganism than Christianity is far away from paganism. It's closer to Hashem than paganism, right? So it's in a way godly. Why did she reject this guy heckling her from the crowd that Jesus is Christ or King or what, Christ is King? Because she hates anything that's godly. She hates anything that's godly. That's Kamala Harris. All she cares about is that we should destroy God. Trump, on the other hand, loves. I mean, I've seen him announce in his rallies, we love Jesus worshippers. We love Jesus worshippers. Now, I don't think people should be worshiping Jesus, but a guy who loves Jesus worshippers, listen, he can love Jesus worshippers because they're not exactly in line with Judaism and the true God, but that's not Trump. Trump doesn't really know. He's not a Jew. He's a Christian. So for Trump to hate, I'm sorry, for Trump to love Jesus worshippers, that's a good thing for him, because from where he stands, that's a good thing. From where he stands, where Jesus is his Messiah, whatever, it's a good thing that he loves Jesus worshippers. So I'm just saying, even though I'm not agreeing with Jesus and Jesus is whatever, it's a different conversation for a different time. The fact is, Kamala hating on Jesus is a statement that she hates God, and Trump loving Jesus is a statement on his love for God. Okay? So yeah, Kamala hates God and Trump loves God. And that's simple and pashut and simple, yeah? It doesn't mean we should put our trust in Donald Trump. It says in Tehillim, it's in Psalms, Al tiftichu ben divim. Do not trust in the princes or the royalty. We don't know. Today they can be our friends, tomorrow we don't know. We don't know. We really don't know. Good time seeing you on my feed. It's been a while. I want you on my feed. Can we have a monologue for a minute, 2 minutes? Can you join, please? Just say hi. Look, I'm just trying to drink and get drunk and talk. I'm 3 in. We're about to start the 4th. Can you talk to me? You can talk about elections. You can talk about whatever you want. I really don't have a preference. I just want a monologue because I'm getting tired of I want a dialogue because I'm getting tired of the monologue. That is cool. Yo, Cynthia. It's almost Shabbat. The portion of the week is Lech Lecha. God says to Abraham, go from your home, your birthplace. All right, whatever. I'll talk to you all day by myself. I'm saying, if anyone can carry a conversation with themselves, it's me. But I thought for your sake, it'll be more interesting for someone I'm talking to. But maybe that's not what God wants. I'm sorry, or He just doesn't want me to be popular. I don't know. Because I think if I had conversations with people, I'd be more popular. I think. Anyways. It's a really popular song playing right now in Israel everywhere. Yeah, everywhere. It doesn't matter where you go. Bars, parties, random people's house. You hear it everywhere. I'm trying to remember the song. If I remember it, I'll sing it. Ah, Hashem Yisbarach Tamid Ohev Oti. So Hashem, God, blessed be He, Yisbarach, blessed be He. Tamid Ohev Oti, always loves me. V'tamid yeh li rak tov, and always there will be to me only goodness. V'Hashem yisparach, tamid ohev oti, v'tamid yeh li rak tov. Hashem yisparach, tamid ohev oti, v'tamid yeh li rak tov. Hashem yisparach, tamid ohev oti, v'tamid yeh li rak tov. V'od yoter tov, ועוד יותר טוב, which means, and furthermore goodness, and furthermore goodness, and furthermore goodness, and furthermore goodness, and forever there will be to me only goodness. So it's a beautiful song, but it's crazy that you'll see secular Jews in Israel who have no connection really, to like religion. Not no connection, but I'm saying they're not putting on tefillin every day. They're not keeping kosher. They're not keeping Shabbat. But they're sitting in a bar with like a chick, and they're gonna go fuck her, and they're not gonna put her in a mikveh first. But what are they listening to? Hashem Yisparach always loves me, and there's only gonna be me more good and more goodness and more like they're singing about Hashem, which is wild. It's wild. There's this Israeli pop star. His name is Sasson. I don't know how old he is. He must be like my age or younger. I'm 26. I think he's like also like 26 or younger. I don't know how old he is. He might be older than me, but I don't think so. I think he's like my age or younger. Anyways, he's very popular in Israel. He's probably one of the most popular singers in Israel right now. And dude, you look at his concerts, it's full of girls. I mean, also guys also, but it's full of girls. And they're not dressed like what I would call modestly. They're just dressed like secular chick. They're not like particularly religious. But in like every one of his concerts, he like takes like a 5 minute break to like just sing religious songs like "Love You Hashem," "We love you Hashem," like in Hebrew, but like "We love you Hashem." Like it's crazy, and I don't think there was ever a generation like this ever, where you have secular people singing religious songs and religious people singing secular songs. Like we're very, very confused in a way. But again, that's the point of this generation. The Kabbalists have said that the final generation is the generation of Berurim, clarification or separation. Berurim, Barer, it's one of the 39 malachas, the 39 activities that are forbidden in Shabbat. But it means to clarify, to separate, to take the good from the bad or the bad from the good, right? So we're in the generation of Berurim, clarification, separating the good from the bad, saying this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad, this is bad, this is good, this bad is good, right? So that's why I think we have so much confusion and so much mixing, because everyone is presented with a choice to choose a little bit of good or a little bit of bad. So the wicked is also choosing a little bit of good, and the good is also choosing a little bit of wicked, because everyone has to take a side. And remember, free choice is more subtle than it seems. Like you can see someone who's completely good on the outside, but on the inside they're really wicked because they're choosing wicked in a small area, but that's their area of free choice. Their area of free choice might be so subtle that to you it looks like they're completely good, but in reality they're completely wicked. Why? Because all the goodness that you see, they're not actually choosing. They're not the free will. It's just the way they were raised, and they're a sheep who just follows the way they were raised. And in the small area where they do have free choice, they're choosing wicked. So they might be completely wicked, but on the outside they look completely good. And on the opposite, vice versa, you might have someone who looks completely wicked, but it might be due to the way he was raised. And in the area where he does have free will, where he's not post-traumatized and he has no, right, in the area where he actually does have free will, or he could choose, he is choosing good. And on the outside, he looks completely wicked. But in that small, tiny 0.101% chance that he has free will, he's choosing the right thing. Meaning what? He's murdering a little bit less than he would have. Maybe he was born to be a murderer. He was raised to be a murderer. That's his nature. There's nothing to do about it. But he murders one less person a day. So he's actually good. He's actually good because he didn't have free will on the 99 people he murdered. But on the 100th person, where he actually spared that old lady and he didn't kill her, he only stole her money, that's where his righteousness lies. So it's very hard. You don't know. You don't know who's righteous and who's good. Only God knows. Even we don't know because we have so much self-doubt and then we have so much self-raising. We think we're so great. There's like sometimes we think we're so great when we're really not that great. And sometimes we think we're really low when we're really not that low. So it's really hard to know. Anyways, I'm a little disappointed in you all, my fans. I love you all. I love my Facebook. But I'm disappointed that how long am I into this? 59 minutes and 24 seconds into the feed, and so far no one has joined my video. I'm saying no one has been on this to make it from a monologue to a dialogue. I would like a dialogue instead of monologue, but whatever. Ah, I know I'm having a hard time finishing all this beer. Again, just so we're keeping track. We have 2 full ones, 3 empty ones, and one that's like 3/4 full. Like half full. I don't know if you count the bubbles or not. Count the bubbles? It's Lil Shishi. It's Lil Shishi. Lil Shishi means the night of the 6th, meaning Thursday is the 5th day, but it's Thursday night. The sun already set, so it's technically the 6th day. So it's called Leil Shishi, the night of the 6th day. Because the night precedes the day in the Bible. It says, Vahi Erev, Vahi Vakar, and it was evening and it was morning, right? I don't know, we might be done here. I'm sorry to end this early, because I wanted to go hard and go strong and finish 6 beers on camera, on stream with y'all. But I got a lame crowd. I haven't gotten any comments, I haven't gotten any interactions, and no one joined on the video. I was hoping that someone would join on the camera and would like do like a podcast type of style, which is what I love. First of all, it gets me more engagement and more interaction, but also it's like it's more interesting. You don't want to just watch one guy like getting drunk and talking to himself. You want to watch 2 people having a conversation, right? 3 people, even 4 people, 5 people, how many people, but at least 2. Hi, Elizabeth, shalom. Can we talk? Can you join in the camera? You can shut your camera if you want. You don't have to be on the camera. Can we talk for a minute? You could ask me anything. I'll ask you anything. Can we just chit chat? Because I'm like ready to end this feed because it's been lame. No one joined. I was hoping someone would join and talk to me. Nice, thank you, thank you. Your mamish, you're tzaddikas. Hi.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I do.
Hi, shalom.
Shalom.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Where are you talking from?
Israel, in the Jerusalem hills.
Ah, how is it there?
It's relatively quiet and peaceful. We hear warplanes, but not too much action other than just like airplanes flying on top.
Yeah, so relatively quiet at the moment.
Yeah, it's been
That's
like
good.
this a couple of weeks already. I mean, there were like sirens and people running to bomb shelters. There was, but not this week.
Oh, yeah, because I'm studying a course from Israel, and there was a class which was delayed 1 week, and the tutor was hiding in a bomb shelter. I think that was when the attack from Iran happened, when Iran bombed Jerusalem.
Yeah, they're trying to threaten us again now, but we'll see. Where are you? Where are you located?
I'm in England,
Nice. Which part of England?
southwest Devon to be precise.
And I've never heard of it, but I don't know too much. I've never been to England. I've wanted to come, but I've never been there.
Oh, so were you born in
I
Israel?
was born in Canada. I was raised in the United States in New Jersey. I've lived in Israel about 7 years, but not consecutively, and I'm not a citizen here. I'm a tourist here, but I've spent a lot of time here. I did 2.5 years studying Torah here in yeshiva. I've spent the rest of the time here just traveling and, I guess chilling. I'm not allowed to work here. I'm also not physically able to work, or mentally able to work. But either way, I don't have like a visa to work. I'm here as a tourist, almost 7 years.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
So you're on a tourist visa basically and studying.
Yeah. Are you Jewish?
I'm not, but I have an interest. I kind of follow Orthodox Christianity, and I'm learning Hebrew at the moment. I've been learning Hebrew since the beginning of the year, biblical Hebrew, not modern Hebrew.
That's amazing. I congratulate you, first of all, on choosing to learn Hebrew, and second of all, on choosing biblical Hebrew over the modern Hebrew. I think those are two very good choices, probably the two best choices you can make in your life. Yeah.
So how long have you been learning it?
Well, first of all, the way I grew up, because I grew up in like a Orthodox system. They taught us the Hebrew alphabet as they taught us the English alphabet. So like as I'm learning like A, B, C, D, I'm learning Aleph, Beis, Gimel, Dalet. They taught it to us at the same time. So they split our school into two parts. We had like the majority of the day was on Hebrew studies, and then like I would say like a quarter of the day was spent in like secular studies, like the English language or mathematics or science. So like we'd start our school morning at like 9 o'clock in the morning. We'd start class, and then depending on what grade you're in, you either get out like at like I don't know, like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, or like maybe earlier, maybe like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. But depending on what grade you were in, they let you out at different times. But usually the majority of the day was spent on learning Torah subjects, like or the Hebrew language or the Bible, Tanakh, or eventually when we were older, Mishnah and Gemara, which is the oral law. But the last like 2 hours of the day or 3 hours of the day, we would have secular studies. We would study science and math and the English language and so on. Yeah, so for me, English is my mother tongue. That's what we spoke at home. But when I was learning the ABCs, I was already also learning the Aleph Beis.
Yeah, I do know the alphabet now, but what I'm trying to get used to is the verb system, because the verb system is very different than English.
Yes,
And
but you know what?
and
I think Hebrew makes more sense. Meaning, once you get your brain wrapped around it, you'll see that it makes a lot more sense in English. Like in English, the spelling of letters can sometimes sound very arbitrary. Like in Hebrew, everything makes sense. Once you can wrap your head around it, you can see like, okay, here's the three-letter root word. These are the prefixes. These are the suffixes. It's very like scientific in a way. Like there's no arbitrary spelling of letters. It's not like two L's or one L or two Y. You know what I mean? It's very like scientific. It makes sense. Once you can wrap your head around all the rules, it's very scientific.
yeah, I get you. There's more logic to it,
Yeah.
whereas the English is a bit arbitrary. I've noticed that myself with English. Certain things are spelt or pronounced a certain way. It has exceptions that don't make sense, and there are too many of them.
Right.
So,
In English, you can't just memorize a bunch of rules and then figure out how to spell the words, because some words, they don't follow any rules. In Hebrew, everything follows the rules. If you can memorize what all the rules are and how they work, you can spell, if you know the three-letter roots and you know all the prefixes and all the suffixes, you can make up any word because you know how the system works. There's a system to it. In English, we don't have a system. There's no such thing. In Hebrew, there's prefixes, there's suffixes. That means you plural, you feminine, you masculine, or they. You know what I mean? Like there's very specific letters that mean specific things depending on where they are in the word. If they're at the beginning of the word, at the end of the word, you know what I mean? And then like the root word. So in Hebrew, it's pretty much you have to learn the three-letter roots, which it's
yeah,
not easy, but you can do it. You can learn all the root words, three-letter root words, and then you have to learn all the prefixes and all the suffixes. But every three-letter root word has the same rules. Meaning, if you add let's say the letter Taf, the final letter in the alphabet, if you add it to any three-letter root word, but you put it at the beginning, you put it at the beginning of any three-letter root, you put it at the beginning of Taf, it means you,
uh,
and it means you will. And that's a rule that always works. So if I know a certain three-letter root, and I know the rule that the Taf at the beginning means you, and you future, you will, now I can build more words. Like there's a system to it. In English, we don't have such a system. You have to like memorize a dictionary of words that seem to be arbitrarily spelled, unless you know Latin and you know where it comes from. But it's much more complicated. In my opinion, it's much more complicated to learn English than Hebrew.
yeah, it must be for foreigners to learn it, because obviously English is my first language, so I'm used to it. But I've heard for foreigners it is very difficult to learn for that reason, for the reasons that you describe.
Yeah. It's weird though
Um,
how
oh,
English became the most popular language. It's weird.
my friend's watching us. Hi, Stacey. Mhm.
Nice. So, what piqued your interest in Hebrew?
Well, my interest in languages generally and the history of it, the historical roots of languages,
Yeah.
and and also the religious side of it. So,
What do you think about Jesus?
that's a complex question.
I could tell you what I think about Jesus, shall I?
Oh, okay, yeah. What do you think?
I think Jesus was a special soul in a way where he had the potential to redeem Israel. He had the potential to be the Messiah. In every generation, we have Messiah. Messiah doesn't just come once. I think in every generation, Messiah is there. And if the generation is worthy, he'll reveal himself as the Messiah. He'll do all the necessary things, the necessary prerequisites to be the Messiah. And then we'll have, like, the end of day redemption period. So I do think that in his generation, he was the Messiah that was there as a potential Messiah. But I think that the generation wasn't ready. And because the generation wasn't ready, um, his soul was corrupted. And I think he died as a wicked person. I don't think he died as a righteous Jew. I think, first of all, obviously he was Jewish. His rabbis, his teachers, his educators, they were his mentors. They were all Jews. He was a Jew. They were all Jewish. But I don't think he died righteous. I think he was born righteous. He could have been the Messiah. He could have been the Redeemer of Israel. But the generation failed him. The generation wasn't ready. And because of that, his soul was handed over to the other side. And he died a wicked Jew. That's my opinion, and I'm not making it up. I took it from a book I read.
Yeah, that's interesting. No, I've not heard that view before. Is that just your personal view, or is it one that's shared? Is it?
Well, I would say the way I grew up, it's not so shared. The way I grew up was that he was a completely wicked person, just a rebel. He rebelled against the rabbis of the time, and he was just a wicked Jew who wouldn't accept the yoke of the rabbinate. Because we know God, obviously, God, we're subject to God, and we have to listen to God. But besides that, God gave authority to the rabbis. He did. He gave the authority to the rabbis. So Jesus rebelled against that authority. The way I grew up is that Jesus is a bad guy. He was never Messiah. The whole thing, that concept that Jesus could be the Messiah, is a false lie and blah, blah, blah. It's just a lie. And people who believe in Jesus the Messiah, they're just, I don't know, like misled or dumb or whatever. I don't necessarily think that. Like I said, I think he could have been the Messiah, and he was the potential Messiah. He was the Messiah of the generation, but the generation wasn't ready, and the generation effed up or messed up, and because of that, his soul was handed over to the other side. And like I told you, I took this from a book I read. I think it was from Moshe David Vali. I think he lived. I don't know when he lived. Probably at least 1,000 years ago, or around 1,000 years ago. I don't know when. But I think that's where I took it from. I don't remember where I got it from. I think it was from him. But he writes it a little differently. Meaning, the way I grew up was Jesus was just a bad guy. He just hated the rabbis, and he's just a bad guy. The way I don't understand it like that. I understand it differently. No, he was a good guy. He was the Messiah of the generation, but the generation effed up, and because they weren't ready for him, his soul was handed over to the dark side. It wasn't his fault. It was the generation's fault.
I see. So, because there are hints in the text that the generation wasn't ready for him, that he revealed himself to people who wanted to see him, were ready to see him, but most of the people weren't ready.
Right.
most of that
And
generation.
we know that generation was corrupt. Not just that generation. There was a lot. I mean, listen, if you read the Tanakh, not just the 5 books of Moses, but also the scriptures and the prophets, you can see that the Jews were corrupt. The Jews were serving idols. They were involved in in rape. There's a famous rape story of the Pilegesh Megillah. I don't know. There's stories
Oh,
in
look,
the scripture itself. The Jews were corrupt.
I think I remember wasn't that the rape of Dinah? And then her brothers took vengeance
Right. Well, that's not a
on,
reflection on Israel
on that.
because that the Jews were not at fault necessarily. Meaning, Dinah, they were not at fault. The brothers were not at fault there. That was Dinah. She was curious. She went out to see the world and she got in trouble. That was her own fault in a
Yeah,
way. But further beyond that, after that, there was a story of the Pelegesh Megillah. It was a concubine Megillah where I don't remember which tribes were involved, but there was like an entire tribe that they took this woman and they raped her overnight, and they I don't know, like a crazy story. I don't remember all the details, but I don't remember any of the details. But I'm just saying the Jews were not in a morally correct position throughout the ages. Us as Jews, we've served idols, we've raped women, we've done retarded stuff, like really wicked stuff. So it's not like new to the generation of Jesus. It's not like only the generation of Jesus was corrupt. Throughout the
yeah,
ages, Jews have been corrupt. Listen, even at Sinai, when God gave us the Torah, we miscalculated. We thought Moses would come down on the 40th day. We miscalculated on the 40 days. So on the 41st day, which was really the 40th day or something, we miscalculated a day and we made a golden calf. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't necessarily
yeah.
our fault.
I remember that story. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily our fault. According to the tradition, it was the Egyptian magicians, the heir of Ra, the mixed multitude that came out of Egypt with us. They instigated the whole thing. But still, a lot of Jews went along with them. Most of the Jews went along with them. So I'm just trying to say, like, it's not just the generation of Jesus that was corrupt. Throughout the ages and generations, Jews have been corrupted. We've been corrupted from the beginning. We've always been corrupt. Even when God revealed himself, he spoke to us. We heard his voice at Sinai. And a few days later, like 40 days later, we made a golden calf and worshiped the golden calf. Like, we are corrupt people and we've been corrupted, you know? So, yeah, if God sent us Jesus as a Messiah, we were not worthy. We were not ready for it. And because of that, his soul, his essence, was handed over to the dark side and he got corrupted. That's the way I understand the story, and that's the way I've read it.
yeah. Although it wasn't his fault if people weren't ready for him.
Yeah. Leora sent a comment. She wrote, Jews were corrupted, and what about the rest of the world? You're getting in the dark mood, get out of it, please. So I'll respond to that and say, like, listen, of course, I'm not trying to say that Jews are worse than the rest of the world. No way, no way. In my opinion, look, I'll just say it like this. The state of Israel, if you're going to compare them to the rest of the world, I would say it's the most moral country and it's the best country to live in compared to the rest of the world. But if you're going to compare it to the values that God wants from us, if you're going to compare it and you're going to say, are we living up to the values of God and the Torah? No way. I would say Israel is so corrupt. We don't follow Torah law here in Israel. And I'm talking to you from Israel right now. I'm telling you, this place is not a godly place. It's not. If I'm going to come
I
from the perspective,
I heard that Israel is a very secular
it
state.
is. It's
Is that
completely
true?
secular. It's completely secular. And that's my point. Like, if you're going to compare it to the Bible and biblical law, no, Israel is the worst place to be because they're claiming they represent the Bible. Their whole claim to the land is that, listen, God gave us this land. We've been here for 2,500 years or 3,500 years, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Their whole claim is only from the Bible, but they don't follow biblical law. They follow old British law. The whole Israeli system follows the old British law before the British left here. When they had Britain controlled this land at one point. So their whole law
Yeah,
system,
they did. Like last century,
exactly. So
they called it
yeah, so their whole
the
law
British
system,
Mandate
their whole law system,
Palestine.
it's not based on biblical law, it's based on British law. So from my opinion, if you're going to compare it to the Bible, yeah, Israel is the most corrupt country because they represent the Bible, but they're completely going against the Bible. But their whole claim to land is based on the Bible, but they're going against the Bible. So in my opinion, it's the most, if you're comparing it to biblical law, they're the most corrupt country on earth. But if you forget the Bible, if you're going to forget the Bible for a second and just compare them to secular law and just say, how does Israel stand in regards to secular law, like just the law of the land in all the countries? I'd say Israel is the most moral country in the world. I'm saying when they go to war, every country goes to war and every country kills civilians. How many civilians do countries kill when they go to war? Israel kills the least, and that's a fact. You can Google this. Israel kills, as much as people want to say we're murdering people in Gaza or wherever, we're in Lebanon or wherever, every country that goes to war kills more civilians than us. Obama killed civilians every single day, was killing thousands of civilians.
Oh, definitely. He was terrible.
Yeah,
He,
so
he killed a lot of civilians in Libya, in Syria.
exactly. So if you're going to compare Israel to the United States, or Israel to Britain, or Israel to Libya, or Israel to any other country, Israel is the most moral country. But if you're going to compare it to the ancient Israel, to the Bible Israel, the biblical Israel, then it's very corrupt. And maybe it's possibly, like, I want to say the most corrupt because they know the truth and they're going against it. You know, so it depends how you look at it. If you're looking at it from a secular perspective, I would say Israel is the best country on earth. But if you're looking at it as a religious perspective, I would say it's the worst country on earth.
Are there many Orthodox Jews living in Israel, or are most people secular?
I would say there are religious Jews living in Israel. We're definitely a minority, but the thing is, even within the religious minority, within the religious Jews, a lot of them take money from the government. A lot of them send their children to the army. A lot of them believe in this idea of a religious or a Zionist Jewish state. You have a very select minority, a very few, very small percentage that they don't take a penny from the government. They hate the government. They will not send their kids to the army. If you go through their neighborhood, for example, in Jerusalem, you have a very, very extreme community in a neighborhood called Mea Sha'arim, translated as 100 Gates, but it's a neighborhood in Jerusalem. It's pretty big. If you walk through there, there's Palestinian flags everywhere. There's not one
Really?
Israeli flag. Yeah, there's not one Israeli flag. Why? Why? Because they hate the state. They hate the state. In their mind, the state is just a secular entity
Are
corrupting Judaism.
these are the are they Hasidic? Because I know that Hasidic regard Zionism as a heresy,
Yeah,
as they believe
these
it
are
is a
Haredi
spiritual
Jews. But the thing
concept.
is, even in the Haredi world, you have Jews that send their children to the IDF, to the military, because we're in such a confused state of the world where it's like it's so mixed. So you have the extreme that they hate the government, but then after the extreme, you have religious Jews who love God, they love Torah, but they fell for this trap and they think that the state of Israel is like a godly state. I don't stand in that position. I don't think the state of Israel is a godly state. I think obviously God is controlling everything and obviously we're under the hand of God. But to me, Bibi Netanyahu is not a good guy. He's not my Messiah for sure not. I don't support Bibi Netanyahu. I think if you're going to compare him to worldly politicians, he's definitely on the good side because compared to like, I don't know, any other politician in the world, I think is pretty good. But if you're going to compare him to true, authentic Torah values, no way, no way. He's not a tzaddik. He's not a righteous person. No way. He's wicked completely. Depends. It depends what you're comparing him to, right?
Yeah, that's it. It's a relative. Depends who you compare him to. Because I can think of other world politicians who don't favour very well if you compare them,
Right.
such as the British Prime Minister, for example,
Who is the current prime minister?
Keir Starmer.
Hmm. Uh, I don't know much about him. I don't know.
Yeah, he's not a nice guy. Well, I don't think so personally. I don't support him. And he doesn't have a lot of support among this population, but people only voted for this government because the last one was so unpopular. So it was a lesser of the two evils kind of thing.
And that's still a choice. God presents us with a choice. He wants every one of us to make a choice because that's the point of creation, that we should choose good, right? We have to choose good. So even if it's the lesser of two evils, it's still a choice. By the way, not voting is also a choice. But the whole point of creation was to present us with a choice. God could have just put us in Eden forever. Why did he have to give us a choice between the tree of life versus the tree of good and evil? The whole point was because if you're going to choose it, it's worth a lot more to you. He could have just put us in Eden, the Garden of Eden forever. But if there was never a choice, it would not be as valuable as if it is today, where we have a choice. God wants us to choose the good side and then live there forever. He could have put us there forever without a choice, but it wouldn't be the same.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, because there wouldn't have been a choice.
right.
It,
Okay.
it was
Yeah.
set up so people had a choice, and unfortunately, they chose
Yeah.
wrong.
Well, who chose wrong?
Well, the people in the garden by choosing the tree of knowledge rather than the tree of life
Well,
and eating the fruit God told them not to eat.
exactly. Adam and
That,
Eve.
that's yeah, Adam and Eve, yeah.
Right. Look here. I'm down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got one beer left. We'll take like 4 or 5 minutes. I'm gonna finish my last beer and then I'm gonna go for the night. I gotta go pretty soon, but I want to drink the last beer with you and then I'm gonna go for the night. I appreciate you coming on. I'll just tell you, I started this video, this live video. I I didn't get anyone to join me on the video, but I really, really wanted to because dialogue is better than monologue. No one wanted to join, so I appreciate you joining, you know.
Yeah, I just stumbled across you, so I suppose I must be following your page because you just came up on my news feed that you were live.
Well, thank God for you because I didn't want to do this alone. I was trying to drink all the beers. I didn't have a drink today before this, but I was trying to drink all of them in one shot. So here we go. This is my last beer. We'll drink this beer, and then I'm gonna end the feed. I'm really thankful to you for joining me,
You're
and
welcome.
I want to congratulate you on choosing to study Hebrew. I think it's the best thing you could do for yourself. I think what's going to bring the ultimate redemption to the world is when non-Jews are going to learn Hebrew. I think like at the end of days, once we have like King Messiah and we have redemption, all that, I think every single person on earth is going to be speaking Hebrew. So I congratulate you on choosing early to devote yourself to studying and learning Hebrew, biblical Hebrew versus modern Hebrew, because they're not the same. Modern Hebrew is corrupted on purpose. They change things on purpose, subtly, but they change it on purpose. So I congratulate you on choosing to study the biblical Hebrew. I wish you good luck and success on your journey. And I also want to remind you that Judaism is an open forum. If you ever choose to join the tribe, you're welcome. There's no money to pay. There's no process to go through. You just need to find 3 Jewish men and proclaim that you want to be Jewish in front of them, and that's it. That's the whole process. I mean, after that, you have to dip in a ritual bath, but that's the whole process. I'm not telling you to convert because we're not allowed to tell people to convert. You're not allowed to. It's even if someone comes to you and tells you to convert, you have to tell them no. And then if they come back, you have to tell them no again. The third time, you're allowed to convert them. It's just a rule. I don't know. It's part of the biblical law. But I'm just saying, I'm not trying to convert you here, but I'm telling you that if you ever did want to, it's not a private club.
Uh,
You don't have to observe it from the outside. You can be from it from the inside, you know?
I see that's interesting to know. Thank you. I didn't know that before.
Yeah. Listen, today there's a lot of groups charging money and taking classes and courses. It's like a 3-year course, and they charge like $15,000 and whatever conversion. That's all bullshit. It all has to do with the state of Israel, but the state of Israel is corrupt. If you look at the biblical law, the way it's written, there's no in the Talmud itself, we have a story of this guy who said he went to this famous sage. His name was Hillel. He told him, "Convert me on one foot." And Hillel converted him. He converted him on one foot, meaning while I stand on one foot, before my other foot gets tired and I have to stand on 2 feet, right? On one foot, like while I can still stand on one foot. And he did it. The righteous sage Hillel, he converted the guy. He taught him one law, he taught him one Jewish biblical law, and he converted him on the spot. There's no prerequisites to joining the Jewish tribe. There's zero prerequisites. Anyone who wants to join can join on the spot. You don't have to learn anything. You don't have to prove that you pass a test. You don't have to pay any money. You don't have to do nothing. Today's conversion is fake. You have to pay the state of Israel a certain amount of money. You have to pay the rabbi a certain amount of money. You have to study for a certain amount of time. That's all bullshit. It's fake. There's no source of that in biblical law. It's all fake. The state of Israel is fake. The whole thing has no. That's why I said that if you're going to compare us, the state of Israel, to the biblical law, it's completely corrupt and they have no standing. They only have standing if you're going to compare them to secular states. If you compare Israel to America, or Israel to Britain, or Israel to any other place, yeah, it's a great place to live. But if you're going to compare us to the ideal where God wants us to live in the future, no way. There's no way. Israel is completely corrupt. Completely. I don't stand with Israel. Not in their wars, not in their nothing. I don't stand with Israel. I really don't. As much as that, yeah, as much.
Every, every country in the world is corrupt.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And Israel is not more corrupt than any other country. People think like Israel is the most corrupt. No, it's not. No, it's not. The CIA is way worse than Mossad. Way worse. Way worse. You know,
I would,
MI6.
I,
Yeah.
I would agree with that statement.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think Israel is like any worse than any other country. It only is worse than other countries if you're going to compare us to biblical law. Why are we worse? Because we're Jews who know the truth and we're rejecting the truth. We're rejecting biblical law. If Israel today would accept the biblical law as national law, I would become a Zionist and I would go and become Israeli and get my Israeli passport. The reason why I don't have an Israeli passport and I'm here as a tourist is because they don't follow biblical law. They pretend, but they don't really follow biblical law. We still follow British law here. Most of the laws in the state of Israel are just old British law. And they're pretending like they're Jews. They're pretending like their whole legal system is a biblical law system, but it's really not. It's really, really not a biblical law system. If it was, we would see a completely different Israel. We'd see a completely different Israel, you know?
Yeah. Because I know that anybody who is Jewish can get Israeli citizenship, but you choose not to
I
for the
choose not to,
reasons
because
you
I don't
describe.
want to be a part of this government system. In a way, I don't trust them at all. Like, if I had a choice of not being an American or Canadian, because I'm a Canadian citizen and an American citizen, if I had a choice, I wouldn't be either. I would just not be a citizen of any country, you know? I don't trust any country. Why I want to be part of a government? I don't want to be part of anything. I want to be a free citizen. If you're going to give me a biblical country, a biblical government, a biblical where they follow the law of the Bible, I would sign up. I would be the first one to sign up. But that's not the state of Israel, and it's not America, and it's not Canada. There's not a single country on earth that follows biblical law. There isn't.
No, there isn't. Anyway, it's time for me to go because I'm going to eat my dinner.
Fine. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for joining. I would love for you to join anytime. Anytime you see that I'm on the video, you can join. It would be very, very, it would make me happy.
You're welcome, thank you, and it's been very nice talking to you.
Likewise. Thank you so much. Have a good
Yes,
one.
you have a nice evening. Shalom.
Hello. almost done here. Got one beer left. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gone. 5 gone. The water's full. I didn't touch the water. I just used it to open my beers. Cigarettes. How are we looking on cigarettes? No, pretty full. Pretty full. I think I smoked like 2, maybe 3. I don't know. I gotta finish this beer before I finish the video. So I want to finish the video. I'm really ready to finish the video, but not till we're done the beer. Chug, chug, chug. All right. Oh, I smoked 3 cigarettes. Means I have 17 cigarettes left. There's 20 in the pack. All right, 6 beers gone. 6 beers down. Ready to end the video. Thanks so much for watching and joining. We are how long in? We're an hour and 36 minutes. If you made it an hour 36 minutes and you watch the whole thing, let me know. I'll send you $1 million on the Mashiach. Love you. Good